Very good morning, all the students. Today we will start with one new topic, a new unit, which is called as the stiffness matrix of the truss element. So basically, in this unit, we will deal with the formation of the stiffness matrix for the truss element, that is the derivation of the stiffness matrix for the truss element, and based on that we will see the various numerical based on the truss. So first of all, as a part of an introduction, we will see today the derivation of the stiffness matrix for the truss element. So first of all, we will see the basic of the truss geometry, because the basic element is very important while analyzing the truss element. So first of all, let us see what do you mean by the truss. So as shown on the screen, it is mentioned that truss is a member in which carry only the axial forces. What is the meaning of that? That is, in truss element, whatever the truss we are given, we will only concerned with the axial forces only. There will be no effect of bending and shear in case of truss element. Okay, so this is the most and very vital part that you must understand. Okay, so let us see the derivation of the stiffness matrix for the truss element, how the formation of the stiffness matrix will takes place. So this is the derivation of the stiffness matrix of truss element, which is given in many of the previous paper. You will see you can see the way this type of derivation were asked in your examinations. Okay, so let us see how to derive the stiffness matrix for the truss element. So this concept is basically based on your SOM. You have already seen the concept of the axial forces in your third semester in the subject SOM. So let us see. So if you consider a simple member, it's a truss member, and which is subjected to the axial pull of the force P on either side. This as shown on the diagram, this is force P acting on the left side, and this is the force P which is acting on the right side. So when these two forces are pulling this member which is having the length L, then in that case you will get the delta. Okay, as per the standard derivation is like delta is equal to PL upon A. Okay, you know this derivation better. Okay, so delta is equal to PL upon A. So while simplifying, we can rewrite as P by delta is equal to EA by L. P by delta is equal to EA by L, and P by delta is nothing but K, and K is defined as a stiffness. So we are interested in calculating the value of stiffness. So therefore this is the standard value of K. So in our numerical, we are dealing with this stiffness matrix K. So for the truss element, the K, the definition of K will be EA by L only. Okay, E is the modulus of elasticity of the member, whatever given in your numericals. A is the cross sectional area of the member given, and L is the length of the same member. So let us see how to derive the stiffness matrix. So let us consider K is the axial stiffness. Okay, K will be defined as the axial stiffness. So this is a truss element. Okay, why I am considering the inclined member, I will tell you, because in the truss member there will be no problem for case of horizontal member and vertical member, but as the truss member is inclined, then in that case the resolution of forces will take place. Okay, so we have to consider the typical one. So therefore here it is considered as an inclined member. So this is a typical truss member having length L is there. Okay, and we have to consider the two nodes, I node and J node. Okay, I node and J node, and at each node two degree of freedom will be formed. One is horizontal, one is vertical, then third and fourth, 1 2 3 4. So 2 degree of freedom will always form at each member. Okay, you must understand that this point. Okay, so now let us see how to derive this stiffness matrix for the truss element. So consider an element of the truss of length L as shown on the figure, and which is inclined at an angle of theta. This is a theta value. This is a theta. So in that case, apply the unit displacement in the direction of 1. So first of all, we have to apply the unit displacement in the direction of 1. So when we apply the unit displacement in the direction of 1, so what will be the effect of that displacement on that particular member, we will see. And because of that displacement effect, what are the changes and what are the value which will form, we have to see that. Okay, so for the simplification, we have here consider cos theta component as cx and sin theta component as cy. So you must understand and you must remember this cx and cy very carefully, because this cos theta and sin theta will be used in your stiffness matrix. Okay, so instead of writing always cos theta and sin theta, it becomes very difficult in the stiffness form. So instead of writing cos theta and sin theta, we will write in place of cos theta as cx and in sin theta as a cy in our matrix form. Okay, now first of all, apply the unit displacement in the direction of 1. So let us see what will be the effect. This is the original geometry of the structure. Okay, now we will apply the this displacement in the direction of 1. So when the displacement will takes place in the direction of 1, this is a number 1. Okay, so the formation will takes place is like that. This is EA by L and CX square will be formed. Here CX square, EA by L, CX square will be formed, and this is called K11. That is the stiffness matrix. What is the definition of K11? Okay, you must understand this. K11 means stiffness matrix of the member 1. Okay, this is the member 1 in the direction of 1. In the direction of 1, we have applied the displacement 1 in the direction of 1. Okay, so we have to consider this. Then similarly, because of this effect, what will happen here, horizontal effect, here it is a theta. Okay, you know that. So because of the theta effect, here it will be cx will be formed and here it will be cy will be formed. So because of cx and cy effect, because here there is a theta is there, so therefore the inclined component here it is, as it is a 90-degree force will be applied here. So here it will be like this. So it will be EA by L CX will be formed. EA by L CX will be formed here. Okay, and here it will be EA by L CX CY will be formed, and it will be acting as K21 because it is a second node of equation 1. This is 1, 2. If you see the original part, this is 2, and we are applying the displacement of 1. So therefore 2, 1 will be there. Okay, and here it will be EA by L CX will be formed, and here it will be EA by L CX CY will be formed. Similarly, we are getting this 2 value. Okay, and we are getting here 1 value. Now whatever the value we are obtaining at point C, at point 1 and 2, we have to maintain the equilibrium condition on the opposite side. So therefore by default, what will happen at the farther end, that is at J node, here it will be, here it was EA by L CX CY, okay, in upward direction. So here it will be again EA by L CX CY but in opposite direction, so that this vertical force and this downward force will become 0. That is, the member will be in equilibrium condition. Again here it will be EA by L CX square. So but the force will be acting in rightward direction, so we have to apply the force in leftward direction here. So this summation of these two force will become 0. Okay, so here it will be EA by L CX square. So this value will be K31. Okay, why 31? Because it is a third node and we are dealing with the first equation. So 31 will be there. So EA by L CX square will be there, and here it will be K41 because the node number is 4. Okay, this is the fourth displacement is there and equation is 1. Okay, so applying the unit displacement in the direction of 1, we are applying the first displacement as we are dealing with the first as we form the first equation. So therefore we have to consider the K value with respect to this different degree of freedom. This is K11 will be formed, here K21 will be formed, here K31 will be formed, similarly here K41 will be formed. Okay, so this is the standard equation you will get when you apply the unit displacement in the direction of 1. Now similarly, the next step is apply the unit displacement in the direction of 2. Now what we are interested in next case is we have to apply the unit displacement in this second direction, in second part. So what happened in second case? This here when we apply this, so here it will be, what will happen here, EA by L CY square will be formed. Okay, CY square will be formed, and the corresponding K matrix name will be K22. Why 2 2 is already there as a displacement node, and second because we are applying the unit displacement in the direction of 2, so because of this 2 will be formed. So K22 will be there, and here it will be EA by L CX CY CX will be there, or CX CY will be, and here it will be K of 1 2, and here it will be on the axial direction, this EA by L CY will be there. Okay, so this will be the effect because when we apply the unit displacement in the direction of 2. Now once you get the forces at the I node, similarly you will get the forces in J node, but in opposite direction. So let us see, here it will be, as it is going in upward direction, so it will be downward, exactly opposite. So EA by L CY square will be there, and the corresponding stiffness name is K42 because the nodal point is fourth one, and equation is we are solving the equation for second, we are solving the unit displacement for the direction of 2, therefore it will be K42. Similarly here also the direction is leftward because at the bottom we are getting the force in rightward direction, so we have to apply the force in leftward direction. So the equation will become EA by L CY CX. So and the corresponding stiffness will matrix name will be K of 32. So likewise we have to apply the unit displacement on each of the degree of freedom or each of the notation. Okay, so we have completed this 1 and 2. Now we are moving towards the third point. So apply the unit displacement in the direction of 3. Okay, so this is the third part. So let us see what was the original position, this 3. Okay, so whenever we are applying this force, it will be EA by L CX square will be there, and in vertical direction it will be EA by L CX CY will be there, and in axial direction it will be EA by L CX. So if you see that this, it will be exactly the same one whatever we are obtaining here. This is it in the direction of 1, whatever the equation we were obtained in the first displacement, the exact same we will get in the third direction, but in on the J node. So it will be EA by L CX square, vertical EA by L CX CY, and in the inclined direction, that is a non-axial direction, it will be EA by L CX. Okay, similarly at the bottom point it will be exactly the opposite one. What was the upward force? It was EA by L CX CY, so it will be exactly EA by L CX CY, that is in downward direction. Again it was the EA by L CX square, so it will be EA by L CX square in opposite direction. Okay, now finally apply the unit displacement in the direction of 4, this one. So it will be this. The equation become EA by L CY square. Here it will be EA by L CY, and here it will be EA by L CX CY. Okay, now exactly the opposite effect will be EA by L, this EA by L CY square, and here it will be EA by L CX CY. Okay, so what is the meaning of that? You have to apply the unit displacement in all the corresponding point, and you will get the respective nodal forces for the each displacement. Okay, so after getting all this, or after applying all the displacement in the particular direction, you will get this final stiffness matrix. So here you can write 1 2 3 4, here also 1 2 3 4. Now carefully you have to see 1 1 matrix. This is the SM, this stiffness matrix. So let us see what will be the value of 1 1. This is 1 1, K11 we are obtaining this, so EA by L CX square. So we have to write here. Now let us take for simplification EA by L as a common, because in each of the member and all member will carry EA by L. So we can take EA by L as common. So we can take it as outside the bracket. So that EA by L will be considered as outside the bracket. In the bracket you will get CX square 1 1. Now consider 2 1. So let us see what will be the value of 2 1. So if you see the figure number 1, this is 2 1. So EA by L CX CY. So the component we have to write in the bracket will be CX CY. Similarly 3 1. So again go to figure number 1. This is 3. So 3 1 will be CX square. Okay. So let us see. This is 3 1. 3 1, that is minus CX square. This is minus CX square. So why we are written minus here? Because the direction is opposite. We know that in x direction, okay, rightward will be positive and leftward will be negative. Here it is going in leftward direction. So carefully we have to write CX as minus in this matrix. Okay. Similarly here minus CX CY 4 1. So let us see 4 1, where 4 1 is there. This 4 1. So CX CY will be 4 1. And it is also minus because it is going in downward direction. Okay, so because of downward it is minus. So similarly from figure number 2 you will get the second row, and from figure number 3 you will get the figure row number 3, and from figure number 4 you will get the row number 4. So this is the basic structural matrix, okay, of the truss element, of any truss element. This is the basic part of the structural matrix. Okay. And while solving the numerical, okay, you replace this CX with cos theta and CX CY with cos theta and sin theta. As we already mentioned, CX represent the cos theta and CY represent the sin theta. One more thing is that in numerical you will come across the various types of supports. Okay, so in the truss element, what are the various degree of freedoms are there? Let us consider, or let us see that. So whenever the fixed support is there, so you have to consider the degree of freedom, that is unknown degree of freedom will be 0 always. Okay, so there will be no unknown will be formed at fixed support. But if the support is roller support, so we know that the degree of freedom, that is unknown degree of freedom, will be 1. And if the support is pin jointed, then it will be degree of freedom will be 2. So we know that very the basic thing, as we if you see or if you learn the engineering mechanics, so one chapter was there in engineering mechanics, that is a pin jointed trusses, if you remember that. Okay, so what are the assumption of pin jointed trusses is that each and every joint of the truss member is considered as a pin joint. So we have to consider each and every member of the joint as a pin joint. So in that case, at every joint we have to calculate the 2 unknown degree of freedom. So whatever the numerical we will be solve, or we will solve in our next lecture, so whenever the joint will be there, okay, then in that case, that is joint means what? Whenever the two member will meet at a point, that is called as a joint. So that point is considered as a pin joint. Okay, always. And there at that point you have to consider the 2 degree of freedom, that is 2 unknown you have to calculate. Okay, and the support condition will be given in your numerical, and based on the support condition you have to consider your unknown degree of freedom. So this was the formation of a structural matrix. Okay, so this structural matrix you must understand very thoroughly. Okay, you must remember this, because unless and until you will not understand this or remember this formulation of stiffness matrix, that is 4x4, you will not be able to solve the numerical, because this stiffness matrix will be applicable in every truss element. Okay, and for each member you have to calculate this stiffness matrix by this formula only. Okay, so this is a very basic formula of the formulation of the stiffness matrix, and you have to remember this formula. Okay, and if in your examination if it may ask, then it will carry around 7 marks. Okay, so we will see the numerical based on the truss element in our next lecture. Okay, so thank you for your kind attention. Okay, thank you.